Hi guys, hope you're all doing really well. I This is a big one. I want to talk to you about the one word that is more powerful, more potent, and more activating, more full of discomfort, more triggering, really. If you're here on with me live, please feel free to say hello. Love to know who's here. But yeah, this one word, and I am going to draw it out a little bit because not draw it out, but I am going to give a little bit of a backstory because there is so much no, there is so much of a push for us to say no and to say no to things and know that it's okay to say no to things and don't feel like a bitch when you say no and all that sort of stuff. There's like just a big pull to say no, and which is fine because especially as women we are taught to say yes and to look after other people and to make sure other people are okay and to help all the time and do all those things. And yet at the same time, there's this mixed message about saying no, because if you say no to one person, are they going to think you're a bitch? Are you actually doing the right thing? Are you being a bitch? Like, there are so many, and if you say no to this thing, is that going to be just like a no to everything? Or can I do no to some things and yes to some things? And what's the protocol here? Like, how does this work? And as I say, there's so much wisdom in learning to say those two simple little letters together. No. It can be one of the hardest things in the world, particularly if you're in a high pressure situation, like if you're at work and you have to say no, or there's an opportunity that you feel like may not come again and you're just like, but if I say no to this, even though I have no time or it's going to stress me out, if I say yes, how can I say no? How can I say no? I feel as though this is one that I've heard a lot, but how can I say no? Really simply, not easily necessarily, but simply. And that would be by choosing the word yes. And that is the word. The word that is even more powerful than no is yes. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it's when it's used appropriately. So what I mean by that is a sacred yes. So what a sacred yes is saying yes to yourself in each and every given situation. So if you're given an opportunity, if an opportunity comes up and you check in with yourself, which option is a sacred yes for you? Doesn't matter whether that's a yes or a no to the opportunity. What is a sacred yes to you? If you've been on a few dates with a new guy / girl, if they ask you out and you're just like kind of sitting on the fence and you're just like, oh, do I really want to go out with this person again? Check in. What is a sacred yes for you? Is a yes a sacred yes? Or is no a sacred yes? So, and the reason why I'm saying yes all the time as opposed to using a sacred no is because we are used to, hi Walter, we are used to saying no to ourselves. This is something that females tend to be really good at because we've been taught to do it. We deny ourselves things, we say we don't need what we desire, we squash our desires. We basically don't own what we want. Or if we do, a lot of the time it will either be laced with guilt or shame, or it will end up coming out sideways. That guilt or shame or whatever will come out sideways. So you'll sabotage yourself in some way, or there'll be a fight, or just a number of things. It's usually with strings, and whether they're strings that we've imposed on ourselves or strings from outside, there's generally strings. And so the reason, why I'm saying a sacred yes as opposed to a sacred no is because This is about practicing. This is about practicing saying yes to you and what it is that you want and the things that you desire, and what, when you check in with yourself here and check in up here, it's a yes. We're looking for a yes, not a no. We're looking for expansion. We're looking for something that makes you feel alive. We're looking for something that makes you feel good and excited, and something that feels like truth to you, something that feels like you're at home, something that feels like home, basically. Not that feels like home, something that feels home. So that one little word, 3 letters, yes, is, in my belief, possibly the most powerful word in the language. Because that is a sign, when it's a sacred yes, that is a sign that you're choosing you, and you are choosing what feels right for you. You are choosing to trust you. You are choosing to, basically, you're just choosing you. And I don't mean that as in basically you're just choosing you. It's basically you're choosing you, which is something, again, that women are not taught to do. We are taught to listen to outside sources for decisions, seek other people's opinions to make sure our decision is right. Like, there are so many ways that we are taught to fracture our trust within ourselves. We're taught to fracture our energy. We're taught to fracture our focus. We're taught to fracture our dedication to ourselves and to our truth and to our soul and to our life and our loves, whatever they are, whether they're people or causes or whatever, for what the outside people, they, community, everyone else have decided are worth it. And ultimately, who decides what's worth it for you is you. And firstly, you need to decide that you're worth choosing. That means that you're worth being able to choose from there. So choose a sacred yes. Allow yourself to truly check in when you do come up, not when you come up against, when you do encounter a decision, when you do encounter an opportunity to say yes or no to something, rather than just choosing yes or no based on logic, based on logistics, based on the mental aspect. Check in and see if it's a sacred yes for you. It doesn't mean that there's going to be no fear. It doesn't mean that there's going to be no unknowns, or the path is just going to be 110% laid out for you. And it's like, oh, that's obviously a sacred yes, because there's a plan, there's a map, there's like, everything is perfect and how I want it to be and how I think it should be and how it seems like it should be. No. What it means is it makes you feel alive. It makes you feel expansive. It makes you feel excited. There may be fear, but it's also excitement. And also, fear is excitement without breath. So take a few breaths, see if it feels like excitement or you're actually shit scared. And is that a shit scared excited? Or just scared? In which case, maybe it's not right for you at this time. It's ultimately up to you. So, choose a sacred yes. Choose you. Ciao, beauties.